Thank you, Senator Kelly. So turn next to Senator Ricketts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of our witnesses for being here today. I want to build on what Senator Kelly was talking there with regard to zoning. You know, owning a home is part of the American dream. And when I talk to my constituents, specifically in Omaha, who are home builders, one of the challenges they talk to me about is all the extra red tape that has come over the past several years with regard to not only the zoning, but all the regulations that go along with the codes and so forth like that. And that's creating a barrier to building affordable housing that would impact our seniors. And so, Mr. Wajda, you're with home builders as well. A lot of my constituents tell me that the regulations they face are local examples of what the state or the federal government is promoting, and that's creating some of the costs and the burdens that they face. Can you talk to me a little bit about what can the federal government be doing to maybe help with cutting that red tape and helping our home builders build more affordable homes?
Sure, Senator Ricketts, thank you for the question. And a great example at the federal level is uncoupling some legislation that has been passed that requires states and local communities to adopt the most recent edition of the building codes. For example, the adoption of the 2021 International Energy Conservation Code can add as much as $31,000 to the price of a new home and can take as long as 90 years for homeowners to see a payback on their investment. At a time when we're facing an affordability crisis across the country, passing the most recent edition of an updated energy code, which does very little to increase the energy efficiency in already efficient new construction, I think we could see as a country much bigger bang for your buck looking at retrofitting some of those older homes, as we talked about in some of the weatherization programs and others that could really increase energy efficiency but not saddle potential new home buyers of new homes from those increased costs.
Was there a cost-benefit analysis done on that? I mean, because the numbers you're giving are pretty shocking that would increase the cost of a home by that much when there are lower cost, readily available ways to be able to help improve on energy efficiency. Was there a cost-benefit analysis done on that?
I think they look at some of those things, and most codes are then adopted. The international codes are then adopted by states, uniformed, or they make tweaks to those depending on which state you're from and or in local communities. So a lot of states and local communities may take the international code and then change that to try to reduce those cost increases at their local level. But we work very closely with our national association to make sure that policymakers are aware of when new regulations are going to be passed, what that impact is going to be on their constituents in their home states.
And when you say international code, help educate me on that. Why is it called an international code?
It's the International Code Council is a code writing body. It's a nonprofit organization that actually writes the codes, and then states adopt those international codes in their states. But it is a group of folks that get together to promulgate, write new codes, and ultimately sell code books.
And so who are they accountable to?
They have a governing body.
And who's that? Who makes up that governing body?
Various interest groups and local government officials, typically.
So it's not an elected official body that's overseeing that is...
Could be the local building inspector, could be from a community that's on the ICC board. Varied interest. A lot of times maybe they're looking at safety and not necessarily safety and affordability.
Mm-hmm. And you said there's also, so is there also potential for conflict of interest there from that standpoint of the people who are sitting on that, who are creating these codes that may then benefit from the codes that they're creating?
I think a lot of the things that we hear from our members of our organization is a lot of product manufacturers are very engaged in the code writing process, and a lot of times that if you add a product to the code that could increase the cost of housing, obviously then local states and local communities have to look at that and say, is this something that we want in our home state? And a lot of times we have to then pull that section out of the code or learn to live with it and pass the cost on to the potential home buyer.
Mm-hmm. Is there a way to, do you have any thoughts on how to reform that process?
I think having a more balanced approach so that you have all sectors of the residential construction industry at the table with an equal voice and making sure that we're taking into account not only safety but also affordability and as you mentioned earlier, really taking a look at that cost-benefit analysis of every new edition of the code that's going to be promulgated to make sure that the people that are going to be enforcing those new regulations understand the cost they're passing on to their constituencies.
Great. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very
Chairman,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ricketts. We'll turn next to Senator Warnock.
Thank you very much, Chair Casey. In addition to the Aging Committee, I